Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at one of the stakes races on Saturday at Aqueduct. Race 9 is the Knickerbocker, going the 9 furlong distance for the older horses on the outer turf course. And we'll take a look at the field for this race. 8 runners entered for the turf, 1 MTO. Bang Frenzy would be pretty tough if this race came off the turf, but the forecast doesn't make it seem like that will be the case. And Mike, among the field entered for turf, I think the big question is not have these horses ever been good enough to win a stakes race, but are they good enough to win a stakes race at this point in their careers? Because it kind of seems like a lot of these horses are maybe on the other side of the hill at this point in their careers.
It's very, very true. I mean, it's one of the things that I guess makes this race a little bit trickier. I mean, first of all, there's just not that much stakes quality talent in the field. I mean, it's not a strong group for this kind of a race. And the horses that do have, sort of stakes credentials, it's a real question of what kind of form they're in right now.
The number 4, Ohana Honor. He's probably the one horse in this race that has proven himself over and over again at the graded stakes level. So he is squarely the horse to beat in here. Got Flavian Pratt aboard, and that typically ensures that you are the favorite lately in New York. So he'll probably go favorite in here, Mike, but it depends on how short a price you want to take him and really how much you trust any of the rivals he's facing in this Knickerbocker. Let's take a look at the time form US pace projector for this race. And there's a little bit of speed between a couple of horses in here. The number 1, Dear Dad, not a need the lead type, but he typically is a horse that wants to be forward in his races. And Mike, I wonder if we'll just look to put the number 7, Air Recruit, on the front end because he's run well using that style in the past and being drawn outside of horses. There probably will be some intention to go forward and get over heading into that clubhouse turn.
Yeah, I can see them getting aggressive with the 7 for sure. The 1's got rail position and has shown speed in the past. The 2 horses that I guess could be considered the 2 favorites in here, the 3 and the 4, the horses who are sort of graded stakes horses from last year. They're both tactical enough that I don't think they're going to be compromised by pace in this race.
Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1, Dear Dad, a horse who was racing first off the claim for trainer Antonio Arriaga, actually one of 2 neighbors in this race that are going out for the Arriaga barn. And this horse Mike picked up for $75,000 out of his last race, where I thought he ran just okay. He got a very good trip in there, saving ground along the inside. Didn't have much answer for the winner's move at the end, Activist Investing, who looks like a future stakes horse, who was just way better than those horses on that occasion. I respect this horse's consistency, and this barn, Mike, maybe you're not familiar with him if you're not handicapping the New York circuit day in and day out, but Arriaga can do pretty well off the claim.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I was going to note, but you just did it, so we can just move on here. He is a trainer who's just really, really good off the claim, and he has been for a really long time. It's mostly on dirt, but this guy he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have top stock, but he's a really good trainer. It just feels like he's claimed this horse and entered him right back, and as weak as this field came up, it's a tough spot for this horse.
Well, the other Arriaga runner is drawn right alongside the number 2, Fuerte Ventura, a horse who's gone through the claim box a few times recently and raced first off the claim for this new barn last time in a starter allowance race. And I thought it was actually a pretty tough race for that condition, Mike. And he ran pretty well within the context of the race because it was coming apart at the end. He made a move to press at the top of the stretch and just got a little tired in the late stages. Never really viewed him as a stakes level horse, but his recent form does make him a little bit intriguing maybe for a minor award.
Yeah, that's true. And he is another horse too. Like he can be forward and he can be involved in the pace like he was last time, but he still runs his race if he doesn't make the lead. So maybe he just falls into a little bit of a better trip here at a price. I wouldn't use him on top. I could see using him underneath.
The number 3, Trickery, as Mike said earlier, one of those horses that does have prior graded stakes credentials. He's actually a grade 1 winner, probably winning a pretty soft grade 1 in that Belmont Derby from last year. The problem is, Mike, he really has not gotten back to that form this season. He's winless in 4 starts. They dropped him down in class last time. We'll take a look at the stretch run of this allowance optional claimer, where he finished 3rd as the 2-1 second choice. And he did get a tougher trip than Dear Dad in the sense that he was wider around the second turn. But I just wanted to see him lift a little bit more in the stretch here, Mike. He's just kind of staying on at 1 pace with no kick.
Yeah, this is the race that holds me back too. I mean, I feel like his first 3 starts this year, and they're not his first 3 starts this year aren't great either. But I feel like you could, if you wanted to, and you tried real hard, you could make excuses for them. Getting a real fast grade 1 off the layoff. The Pimlico race, the turf is listed as good. It was not good. It was way closer to soft, and he just didn't run at all. And then he got wired at Laurel 2 starts back. But man, he had no excuse last time, at least to be second there, even if you think he wasn't going to beat Activist Investing. That was a real disappointing performance.
Next is the morning line favorite, the number 4, Ohana Honor. And Mike, I'm kind of curious what you think about how much of a standout he is in this race, because he's the one horse in here that you could kind of go through and make the case that he really is a graded stakes horse. I mean, he was competitive in that Grade 1 Manhattan going back to the middle of 2024, finishing behind the likes of of Measured Time and Nation's Pride, some international confirmed group stakes horses. And I know things have gone, a little sour since then, and he was only third off a long layoff coming into this race and having lost both prior starts this season. But again, he faced some pretty good horses in Kentucky, and it feels like he probably is getting significant class relief here. It's just a matter of how good you think he is at this point in time.
Right, exactly. And it is a fair question to ask, especially when you know that once you get through this field top to bottom, you know that he's going to be the favorite and probably take a lot of money in here. And I don't know how short I would necessarily want to go on him, David, but his 4-year-old form to me is going to beat this field if he is still that horse. And as hard as it is to tell, I mean, he's only run twice this year, and I didn't think he ran poorly either time. He had no chance at Kentucky Downs behind Laganos, who was just super sharp that day, winning with a 104 Beyer speed figure. They just took this horse back early in that race, and I thought he actually finished up pretty well in there to get second. Last time, I don't know what your thoughts on the Sycamore were. I know it was won by a big long shot, but he got a great spot early in that race, David, and that pace got heated up a little bit early there, and he had to work really hard from a long way out. I'm not sure he ran as poorly as it may look on paper.
I completely agree about the last race. It's a race that did kind of fall apart at the very end. And when you take stock of where he was and how the race flowed in retrospect, he probably ran better than that 4th place result would indicate. Mike, is there any case to be made for the number 5, Ohio Joe, who probably is going to be the rank outsider in this field, a 3-year-old stepping up against older horses who has not proven himself at this class level yet?
It's been a pretty good claim for Louis Linder, but I'm not betting him in this race.
Number 6, Signator, is another horse that's gone through the claim box recently. He was picked up for $100,000 out of his last race, taken away from Shug McGahee and the prior ownership group. This horse cost $1.7 million as a 2-year-old, so I guess they paid back 1/17 of that original purchase price with the claim last time, Mike. And he's a horse that just has never really panned out. He has at different times during his career, he's looked like one that might truly be a graded stakes type horse, and he's never really gotten there. They switched over to turf this year. He won the first couple of races on grass. Since then, he's just kind of been staying on at one pace, not really, doing more than picking up pieces. I wonder if he's going to be able to do better for the new connections.
I wonder too. I mean, I'll admit I got fooled by him early on as a dirt horse, and it just, for whatever reason, never worked out for him on that surface. I did not get fooled by him on the turf. I know he won his first 2 starts when they switched him over. I did not get fooled by him in those races. I just thought he ran okay, and I don't think he's really gone forward since then.
Well, Mike, since you didn't mention it, I'll reference the first off the claim stats this time for trainer Peter's nephew. He does well with this move. 12 for 54 when you look it up in DRF Formulator over the past 5 years with a $2.35 ROI. Not so much on the turf, though, so we'll see if this horse is able to move forward. The number 7, Air Recruit, a horse who missed a lot of time after his 2-year-old season, and he showed talent during his 2-year-old season, but was off, missed the entire 3-year-old campaign, came back this summer halfway through his 4-year-old year, and he won the first couple of starts back. Mike, I wouldn't say that I was blown away by either of them, but they tried a pretty tough spot last time in that Grade 3 mid-millions at Kentucky Downs, and I personally did not love the trip that he got because he's a horse that wants to be more forward than that. The pace was a little too fast for him, and he was just in heavy traffic for basically the last half of that race.
Yeah, and it's a race. First of all, it's at Kentucky Downs, so it's easy to be lenient. And then it's the trip that he pulled makes it, even easier to be lenient. Like you, David, I really liked him as a 2-year-old. He won his first 2 starts this year, but I wasn't quite blown away and wasn't quite convinced that he's actually gotten better after missing all that time. But listen, he's only made 3 starts so far this year. He started out with a lot of potential. He could get a really good trip in this race. He's not facing any killers in here. This horse is easy for me to make a case for. I would wait and see what kind of price he is.
And rounding out the field entered for turf is the number 8 Naptown. This is a horse that was claimed for just $40,000 going back to this summer in June, and he's been very active since then. I think he's made 6 starts since the claim. And also, Mike, he's a horse that has really improved for these newer connections, a lower profile barn who has really gotten the best out of him lately. I mean, he was 4th behind Notable Speech, the future Breeders' Cup Mile winner in the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile going 3 back. Now, it was just the nature of turf racing that he got a low 90s Beyer that day. Probably not quite that good overall, overall, but he's come back in 2 starts since then, Mike, and I think he's run better than it looks both times because he made a very wide run around the far turn to Keeneland 2 back and was staying on well at the end. And then last time at Laurel, there was no pace for him to close into. They walked up front. That race was dominated by speeds, and he was the only one from the back that was making up significant ground late.
Yeah, you can see it on paper too. I mean, that race was slow early and then it was really fast late. And this horse was passing horses, but to no avail. Yeah, I'm with you. You can see the improvement this horse has made even before. I mean, when you watch the 2 wins, one of them at this distance, by the way, when you watch those 2 wins, you understand why they took a shot in a grade 1 with this horse. He was really good winning those races and he's had excuses since.
Let's go to our picks for this Knickerbocker race 9 on Saturday at Aqueduct. And Mike, we both have respect for Ohana Honor. You put him on top. I thought about doing it. I didn't want to take that short of a price on him, but he is way the horse to beat if he holds his form in here.
I have no issue with anyone who doesn't really want to show a price on this horse. I just didn't see the alternative to take against him, David. So I stuck him on top there. I took a long look at your horse, Napton. I got him in there, but I couldn't quite pull the trigger.
He's sort of the one somewhat interesting horse that I could get to in this race because I think his last 2 efforts are both better than they look. I don't know if he's really as good as Ohana Honor. He's probably going to need him to step backwards a little bit and he'll step forward, but he is going to be a much better price. 8-4-7-2 for me and 4-7-8-3 for Mike in the Knickerbocker on Saturday at Aqueduct. Good luck if you're playing the races later this weekend.